it is my pleasure to welcome and introduce to you Masha Borzunova, independent Russian journalist. Masha has been working. Thank you so much for coming, first of all.
Thank you. I'm really glad to be here.
For introductions, Masha has been working with TV Rain, the optimistic channel, also known in Russian and Russia as Dozhd, for a long time in Moscow. She became kind of famous in Russia for her program Fake News, in which she scrutinized fake news and propaganda that is broadcasted 24/7 in Russian media. We did adapt this program with Masha for Europe. You can watch it as Fake News, Russian Propaganda for Beginners on the Arte YouTube channel, and I highly recommend it. Masha has since left TV Rain, and you're now building your own YouTube channel under your name here in Europe, in Berlin.
Yes, it's also about Russian propaganda, but it's in Russian language because our main audience is Russia. We're trying to break this propagandistic wall in Russia and speak with Russians who are now, many of them, as you know, they're believing in this propaganda and these things from Russian pro-government TV, but we're trying to fight with this.
We will see a little bit about this a little later. My name is Katrin Sandmann. I'm a journalist and television producer, and I would like to start this panel with showing a little excerpt of an yet unpublished episode of a weekly Arte program which is called Tracks East, and which Masha was kind enough to moderate, and we'll learn a little bit more about her.
За Россию!
Für Russland! Für den Sieg!
Ура!
Die russische Opposition ist entweder geflohen oder im Gefängnis.
Diese Nachricht, dieses Material wurde von einem ausländischen Massenmedium, das die Funktion eines ausländischen Agenten ausübt, und/oder einer russischen juristischen Person, die die Funktion eines ausländischen Agenten ausübt, erstellt und/oder verbreitet.
Hi, ich bin Masha Borzunova, unabhängige Journalistin und laut russischer Regierung eine ausländische Agentin. Wenn ihr euch fragt, was ausländische Agenten sind, nun, laut der russischen Regierung so ziemlich jeder, der das Regime nicht unterstützt. Und sobald man als ausländischer Agent gekennzeichnet ist, muss man diese Tafel vor alle seine Veröffentlichungen setzen.
Masha, do you know how you became a foreign agent? Like, what exactly made you to become a foreign agent in the view of the Russian government?
Yes, of course. I received an official document from Ministry of Justice why I became a foreign agent. But first of all, I wanted to say that in official media, the foreign agent in Russia, it's like someone who betrayed their country, who betrayed Russia and worked for foreign governments. That's how they explain it. In reality, they put in this list opposition activists, independent journalists, right now even musicians who are against the war. And an official document that I received, I found out that I became a foreign agent because I'm a public figure. According to the law, you need to be a public figure, and you need to receive some foreign money. And the money that I received is near 127 euros from two my friends. One of them is my colleague from TV Rain. She's from Belarus, so she's a foreigner for Russian government. And the second one is was a transfer from my friend, American journalist who worked in Russia for a long time, Evan Gershkovich, who is right now in jail in Russia. As you know, he is accused of espionage, and he's my closest friend. So of course we like shared dinners with each other, and he sent me money. And this is how Russian government explained why I became and why I am a foreign agent in Russia.
Mm-hmm. And besides having to show this sign when you still publish in Russia, like on YouTube, for example, what other things does it entail, or what impact does it have on your work being a foreign agent? Is there certain things you cannot do or you're not allowed to do? How can you work with that?
They are always trying to improve this law, like made it more strict. I don't allow to be a teacher, for example, and I need to send them reports about all my incomes, for example. And first thing, of course, that when people believe in Russian propaganda, for example, and I text to them and they see that I'm a foreign agent, according to the Russian propaganda, they think that, okay, you work for foreign government. And of course, I can explain to everyone that, okay, I became a foreign agent because of 100 euros from my friends. And when people believe in this propaganda, it's really hard to speak with people, interview people. But others who don't believe in Russian propaganda, they're always saying, you're a foreign agent. It means that you're a good person and you don't lie and you tell the truth. So I will speak with you. Yeah, so it's both sides.
Talking about lying and telling the truth or not telling the truth, I mentioned you became known with your program Fake News. I would like to show, for all of those who don't know it, another little excerpt of a program we did with you. It's a little older, it's dealing a lot about cold and energy, but it was extremely popular because you did address the European public, and maybe we can have a quick look.
Na, spürt ihr Europäer die Kälte schon?
Friert euch mal die Schwänze ab.
Ihr habt bestimmt schon alle Bäume in den Parks gefällt, damit ihr heizen könnt.
Die Bevölkerung hat angefangen, sich wie im Mittelalter mit Brennholz einzudecken. Was hat Russland damit zu tun? Selbst schuld.
Im russischen Staatsfernsehen warten alle darauf, dass die Europäer einfrieren. Hier ist Masha Borzunova mit Fake News, eurem wichtigsten Guide durch die Welt der russischen Propaganda. Diesmal geht es um euch und darum, wie ihr den kommenden Winter überstehen werdet. Russisches Gas in Europa. Nicht ganz neu das Thema, oder? Zu Beginn möchte ich euch eine Frage stellen. Spürt ihr gerade die Auswirkungen der fehlenden russischen Gaslieferungen? Habt ihr Angst davor, wie eure Heizkostenrechnungen in diesem Winter aussehen werden? Schreibt es uns. Hier in Riga graut es uns auch schon vor den Stromrechnungen. Aber die Menschen im russischen Fernsehen scheinen sogar noch besorgter zu sein als wir.
Ist er ein Clown? Die Deutschen haben einfach beschlossen, dass es den ganzen Winter über 17 Grad sein wird oder 15 oder so. Wir werden sehen. Die Tschechen sagen, dass sie alles verbrennen werden, um es warm zu haben. Brennen wir erstmal die Ukraine nieder und dann alles, was übrig ist.
Wir werden uns da aufwärmen.
Und sie geben uns die Schuld. Was für ein Blödsinn. Werft die Nord Stream 2 an und alles wird gut. Moment, das geht nicht. Dann gebt den Russen die Schuld. Wir werden alle erfrieren, aber bloß nicht den Hahn aufdrehen.
Talkshow-Moderatoren sind nicht die einzigen, die sich über die Energiekrise lustig machen. Wladimir Putin nutzt die Worte eines sowjetischen Cartoons, um Europa mit einem langen Winter zu segnen.
Um es mit den Worten des berühmten russischen Märchens zu sagen, friert euch mal die Schwänze ab.
Ihr Europäer wisst wahrscheinlich gar nicht, dass ihr so sehr friert, dass ihr schon die Bäume in den Parks fällt. In prorussischen Medien wird berichtet, dass die Berliner Bürger fast alle Bäume in den Parks gefällt haben, um sich mit Brennholz für den Winter einzudecken.
We didn't, as we know. What I was always wondering, you know, when I'm watching these fake news programs, like, do the people who make these news and who are participating in these shows and who are actually broadcasting it in news programs, do they believe what they are broadcasting to the Russian public?
I think many of them believe, of course. Many of them doing it only for money. Many of them understand when the war has started, they can't step back. And many of them, it's like a psychological thing. They made themselves to believe in it. I think like this, yeah.
Why, I mean, we're talking about resistance against, that is, you know, subject of the panel, against this version of a state that Putin has built. In which way do you believe that these, you know, shows on the fake news do help that? Why do you think they are important?
I think it's really important to speak with Russians right now, like, because we understand that it's not started with the war. It was many years before it. Like, Russian society was preparing to this war, and because of censorship, because of blocked media, and like Russian government has monopoly on Russian TV, for example. We haven't on TV like independent channels. Like, all independent media was in internet. But we understand that right now we need to speak with Russians, and we need to try to break this propagandistic wall and to say them the truth, try to deliver this truth to Russians.
Many, like your former employer, TV Rain, other independent media outlets like Medusa or Novaya Gazeta, even like, you know, the BBC Russian, Deutsche Welle Russian, they all left. They had to leave. You left as well. First of all, tell us why you decided to leave.
I want to start that I've never wanted to leave my country. I really loved my country, and I really wanted to work there. It was important for me, like for my colleagues too. But when the war started, like every day we received like these messages, these letters from official Russian Department of Censorship, I can describe it like this, that you can translate only official Russian information. And according to Russian government, as you know, there is no war, there's only special operation. And of course, it was impossible for us. Of course, we give the word to other side, to Ukrainian side, and in a week, they blocked us. We started to get bad signals from sources that it's not safe to stay in country. And our government were on their way to involve in criminal law 2 articles. It's spreading fake news about Russian army and discreditation of Russian army. And as you understand, as I told you, that for Russian government, everything is fake. Everything that is not, with that they not agree. And if you're accused of these 2 criminal cases, they can put you in jail for many years. And right now in Russia, there are dozens of these criminal cases against Russian oppositions, Russian journalists, for example, because they filmed a video about Bucha or something else. And we decided to leave. Of course, we hoped that maybe we can come back, but it's more than a year, and we're trying to continue to work from abroad. Mm-hmm.
We've seen in recent days, I mean, independent journalists who have been staying on in Russia and we're talking about what's going on in Ukraine, for example, have been sentenced to, you know, to incredible prison sentences, like, you know, Ilya Yashin with 8.5 years, Ivan Safronov for 22 years in prison, even though it was a little different case, but still, you know, it's journalists.
He's a journalist.
His father, who was a journalist as well, had been murdered probably by the state 15 years ago. So, you know, this is nothing that is entirely new. But, you know, this is meant to be intimidating, you know, for others to speak up. Is independent journalism at all possible in the country right now as we speak?
There are a few journalists, independent journalists who are staying in Russia, and this is really brave people. I'm really proud. Many of them are my friends, and of course they understand the risks, and of course they can speak as loud as we can from abroad, for example, about these cases like Bucha or something else, about Russian army, about Russian soldiers and all these things. But it's really important that we can hear voices from Russia. We can hear like Russian journalists, independent Russian journalists who understand like mood of Russian people, what they're thinking about this war. But it's becoming much difficult this time. And of course, this is high risks for Russian journalists to work from inside the country.
But there are still some who dare to speak out.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It seems that, you know, the Russian government just recently took another step to intimidate further, and that was when they arrested in March a foreign journalist in Russia, Ivan Gerkovich of the Wall Street Journal, who happens to be a very close friend of you. You mentioned this. First of all, maybe, are you in contact with him, and do you know how he is?
Yes, we're receiving messages and letters from him because he can like we sent letters to him in prison, and he answered to us. We don't know the exact charges because it's classified information according to the Russian government. They only said that he is accused of espionage, and we understand that this is a lie because he is not a spy. We know that he has his head high, he's really strong, and he said that he's ready to fight for his freedom, he's ready to prove that he's a journalist, he's not a spy. And in these letters he is trying to joke or something like this, so he's ready, and we are helping him like to free him. We started the campaign with his other friends. It's like a media campaign. We're trying to speak about him everywhere where we can. And of course, we are trying to make his time in prison as comfortable as we can do it. Like deliver him parcels with everything that he needed, send him letters and books. Yeah, so we know that right now he's reading Russian classics. He's reading War and Peace by Leo Tolstoy. Yeah.
And why do you think the government took this step of now targeting foreign media as well?
We don't know exactly, but like we can suggest that. Of course, it's a precedent. It's first arrest of American journalists since Cold War, since 1986, and we think that like Evan is like a hostage for Russian government. They want something from the West, and they want to exchange Evan for something, because when he was arrested, in first propagandistic shows that I've watched, they started to say about exchange quickly. They started to say, okay, we don't need him in jail. Like, we sentenced him, and after the trial, we can send him back. We can exchange him for someone or something.
That's what they said in the Russian media.
Yeah, they're saying it's Russian media, like Russian government, and so they're talking about it. And for us, it means that maybe they want something or someone for Evan.
An exchange, prisoner exchange.
Yeah.
Now, you know, with Russian journalists basically being unable to work in the country if they don't want to end up in prison, with foreign media being intimidated as well, and quite some foreign correspondents left after Evan was arrested, do you believe, and we could close the panel with this as well, do you believe that we will get any sort of information that is not filtered by the government, by the Putin government, out of this country in the near future?
So I'm sure that it will become much difficult to get the information.
More difficult.
More difficult, of course, to get information from Russia. But we will try to do it. Of course, we I'm as a Russian journalist, I'm trying to speak with Russians every day. Like, okay, we have social media right now, and we can text and we can talk with someone and trying to know something. But
do they still, your contacts in Russia, for example, do they still
yes,
dare talking to you?
Most of them anonymously, of course. Because it's becoming much dangerous to speak with the journalists. But we're trying to do it, and we will try to do it this time. But we understand that it's becoming more and more difficult. Yeah.
Well, you know, on this not very happy note, thank you very much anyway for coming, Masha. Thank you for informing us. Thank you. Thank you.